Okay. Well, first up tonight on our agenda, we have proclamations. In fact, we have a very special presentation for this evening. We have a very special guest with us here tonight. I would like to ask Elizabeth Weaver if she could come join us up here. And there's some staff from Stillwater Medical Center that would like to make a presentation to you.
So, Mayor, where do we need to be?
If you talk into the microphone, everybody can hear you on the screen. But standing up there in that general area would be fine. I think we can get you on TV.
Great. Okay, well, thank you, Mayor Joyce. Thank you to the council and the citizens of Stillwater for giving us this opportunity to recognize a very young philanthropist and someone that inspired our hospital in a big, big way. With us today is Heidi Gilbert. She's a nurse educator, a registered nurse, but a nurse educator in our emergency department. We have Dr. Matt Payne. He's a hospitalist with Stillwater Medical Center. And we have our CEO, Denise Weber. Elizabeth, this was our opportunity to say thank you very much for making ornaments and selling them and providing the proceeds to then go and buy snacks. And she bought hundreds of dollars worth of snacks. And so we got together and we made you this little card. It's kind of a small card. I hope it's okay. But then we all signed it as well. Not all of us, but most of us. Most of us signed it. So just a little way to say thank you for your heartfelt good deeds. And then I know that the mayor has a little something to share as well, but I'm going to give you this box back so you can carry that out. But seriously, she sold ornaments, donated drinks and snacks to the hospital staff, and delivered it the week before Christmas. And it was so special and so meaningful. We just wanted to say thank you publicly. So with that, I hope you'll join me in saying thank you before the proclamation.
That is a wonderful story, and we appreciate you being here tonight. Everybody from SMC and you, Elizabeth, for being here as well. I've actually got a proclamation to read for you, so I will go ahead and do that. Whereas the City of Stillwater wishes to express appreciation for those who are making a difference in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas we recognize that some work is critical and must be performed despite difficult circumstances and regardless of personal costs. And whereas during the holiday season, Elizabeth Weaver was inspired to applaud and serve the employees of Stillwater Medical Center by crafting and selling Christmas ornaments and used the proceeds to buy hundreds of drinks and snacks. And whereas this unselfish gesture recognized the tireless dedication and commitment of our healthcare workers during the height of the deadly pandemic. And whereas upon arrival at the entrance to SMC with her parents and grandparents to unload these items, several employees greeted Elizabeth and helped her and her family unload several multi-shelved rolling cartloads of water, Gatorade, snacks of every kind, and Elizabeth announced, "That's not all, my dad has more in the back of his truck." And whereas Elizabeth's philanthropic spirit didn't stop with the delivery of hundreds of dollars worth of snacks, she returned home and over that weekend made an additional 90 ornaments to ensure that she met her goal that every SMC COVID-19 nurse got an ornament in their Christmas stocking. And whereas philanthropy comes from donors of all ages and capabilities, Elizabeth's vision to give a virtual hug to those in healthcare was a light that shone brightly. Now, therefore, I, William Joyce, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Stillwater, do hereby proclaim March 8th, 2021 as Elizabeth Weaver Appreciation Day in the City of Stillwater. Well, that was a fantastic way to start a city council meeting. Thank you to Elizabeth and to the Weaver family, and for everyone for being here for that special occasion. Thank you so much for the work, Elizabeth, that you've done, and for everybody at Stillwater Medical over the last several months. Okay, now to the not as fun part, the rest of the city council meeting. All right, item 4 on our agenda is the consent docket. Councilors, any questions, comments, or motion on the consent docket? I'm not sure if I heard who made that motion.
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. Teresa, please call the roll.
Mayor Joyce,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Darlington,
Yes.
Councilor Zanotti,
Yes.
Councilor Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the consent docket is approved. I will note that Dr. Wedlake is unable to join us this evening. And we will move to item 5, public comment on items not scheduled for public hearing. I don't think we have anyone signed up for that tonight, so we'll jump down to 7, general orders. And first up, we have a quarterly projects update, part 2, the water and wastewater version.
With, as you stated, a quarterly projects update for water and wastewater projects. The most recent update was mid-December, and we have a number of projects all moving forward, but this evening I plan just to address those with notable milestones reached or progress worth mentioning in the interim since December. The project pages on stillwater.org are up to date if somebody wants information on a specific project. And of course, I'm always available for questions. Recently completed projects include the Hunters Ridge water line, which has been, the installation is in place and operational, and the contractor is working on the punch list. That's Hunters Ridge just off of Richmond Road, connecting a dead-end line to the municipal system on Richmond Road. Also just recently completed is the 32nd Avenue Booster Pump Station. Similarly, the work is essentially complete, and the punch list items are being addressed by the contractor. Punch list is where, if you're not familiar with that, when a contractor believes they're complete, they let us know. We do a walkthrough and identify issues that need correction or are not yet complete, and things like that. So that's where we are with that project. There's shots of the pump station, the pump room, and the control room, as well as the outside. If there's no questions there, I'll move on to projects in construction. The first one is the North Perkins Road water line relocation. So all the water line work is complete, and the tie-ins have all been made, and the contractor's working on restoration. Putting back parking lots, sidewalks, reestablishing sod, things like that. The next project is the 4th and Hester water and sewer line replacement, which is a cooperative project with the street replacement in that area. And the water line installation is complete, and the sewer line installation is up next. And I'll take this chance to bring out my show and tell for the evening. So I don't know if you can point the camera at me momentarily.
There.
So here's a piece of 4-inch water line taken out of about a month ago. The water line was in service. So that's one of the, besides moving out of the way of road construction, getting rid of some of this old cast iron line is a great great benefit to the system and the customers. And I will apologize that you're the only one here to get to see it
Yeah,
tonight, but
I'm the
I'll
only-
pass it
yeah.
down to you.
Tell me what I'm seeing in this water line.
Sure. The water line material is cast iron, which means cast iron has been in use for hundreds of years. And that material tells me that that was installed in the 60s or earlier, because in the 60s is about, 50s and 60s is when we stopped using it. But what you're seeing on the inside of the pipe is called tuberculation. And depending on the chemistry of the water, or almost any water, but the rate depends on the chemistry of the water, it'll leach some of the metals out of the pipe. So that's buildup from the pipe material itself.
Awesome. I'm glad we're replacing it. We'll save this here for you guys next time you're at City Hall.
Yeah,
Other
it looks a lot
counselors.
like that photo on the right of your screen now. So the next project is the wastewater treatment plant digester lid replacement and miscellaneous improvements. Most of the improvements besides the digester lid itself have been completed. The replacement lid has been constructed and coated. The old cover, well, I'll come to that in a moment. Here is one of the other digesters, just some of the appurtenances that we replaced or added. That stainless steel piping is to take off the gas that builds up inside a digester. You may remember all the sludge from the wastewater treatment process goes into the digesters, and digestion is the process of essentially microorganisms eating the sludge and decreasing the volume. So that creates methane gas, thus the need for a semi-elaborate gas collection system, which also burns off the gas. Here's that digester A again. We've seen and talked about the condition of the lid. Here it is being removed, essentially piece by piece. And now we're at the stage of having the engineer come back in. Now the digester's been cleaned out and evaluate the condition. You can see there kind of in the bottom right, at the part of the digester that was covered by the lid, you can see some concrete deterioration. So we know there's going to be some work to do. Before moving on to projects in design, I'll mention the wastewater treatment plant generator project. We talked about that in December. And in January, the contractor was making almost one of the last tests that had needed to be run of all the various components being put together and operated. And there was an incident with a fire at the electrical near the generator with some of the new equipment. And so now that has delayed the project. It was an electrical fire, so it went out as soon as the electricity was cut off. It was not an extensive fire, but now we're at the stage of investigating the root cause of what caused that to happen and confirming if any equipment needs to be replaced and the path forward and how to avoid such an incident again. Moving into projects in design, we've got the Airport Industrial Access Road waterline relocation. This is another project in cooperation with transportation. You are, I'm sure, familiar with the road relocation, and so we had just some water line to move so that it's out of the way of the construction. And that's in the final design stages. The next one is Elm Avenue waterline improvements. And this one kind of ties back to the exhibit I brought tonight, because this project will remove from service approximately 2,000 feet of old cast iron line. So this project is not adding a lot of line, but it's getting rid of a lot of line that's past its life. And that project is in the bidding phase. Next project is water treatment plant residuals. And here's a shot from the raw water tank at the treatment plant. The residuals are water and solids kind of generated at the round basins in the foreground of the photo and in the filter beds, which are kind of in the middle of the photo. And whenever those are generated, they're piped down to those lagoons you can see kind of in the mid top of the photo. And we recover the water from those lagoons and pump it back into the raw tank. And then we have solids to deal with. So occasionally we'll dry out the beds and remove the solids and stockpile them on site. So this project is studying that whole system. We know there's some improvements that need to take place, and we'll also be looking at the sustainability of do we have enough room long-term for the lagoons and for solid storage, things like that. I'd like to open it up to any questions.
Thank you, Bill. Councilors, any questions?
Bill, you didn't disappoint me with that beautiful cast iron picture, and I can hardly wait to get down there to see it in person. But
If Mike could arrange to have it delivered.
okay, that'd be fine. I'm just wondering how all of the water treatment plant projects fit into the study session that we had, a few weeks ago about looking at all of the water treatment plant possibilities.
Sure. With any projects now going on at the water treatment plant, we're definitely keeping that the study session and the long-term view of the treatment plant and the raw water system in mind. The generator had already been bid and was under construction, so we're not making any changes there. The generator, and it's very much needed at the water treatment plant, so we're continuing with that. This residuals project, we kind of revised the scope before engaging the engineer to realize that the long-term plan at the water treatment plant is somewhat in question. So we always would keep in mind at any point making decisions here that the life at this current plant may be extensive and 50-year life, or that it may be in our interest to basically sunset this plant and to build a new one. So we'll have to weigh that. There may be improvements that we just have to make, even if the lifetime there is short. There may be some improvements that we can defer until we know what we're doing there. And some of the improvements may be ones that we make with a shorter horizon than we normally would.
Thank you. I think we have a whole new appreciation for generators after 2 weeks ago in our deep freeze.
Yes, we definitely do.
Are these diesel generators that are going in?
Yes, sir.
Bill, can you, on this cast iron, which I agree is a wonderful visual aid, this is not a danger necessarily on the inside of these pipes, this buildup, right? I mean, we're not concerned about the quality of the water that's passing through these, or are we?
Correct. It just makes it more challenging to keep the water quality up. You've got to flush more often. You can tell from the diminished interior diameter that that's not going to carry as much water, so it's not going to serve as many customers. It's not going to carry as much fire flow as a clean new pipe would. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's important to replace those pipes and get them out of the system. So it's not a danger, but it does make more work.
Yeah, thank you. Counselors,
So
further
when you-
questions? Go
I
ahead.
had a question. When you abandon the lines, do you remove the lines, or do you abandon them in place?
What we do is abandon them in place almost exclusively. We'll disconnect from some point where we're replacing and putting in a new line, and we'll So cut the pipe and we'll cap the ends so that the pipe doesn't become a conduit for groundwater and, flooding problems show up somewhere other than where they really are. So we cap the line, but abandon it in place. We get rid of all the surface features, like remove valve boxes and valves down to probably 3 feet deep, and remove the old hydrants and things like that. So anything at the surface is removed, but the subsurface pipe is just left in place unless it's in the way of planned construction.
Do we map those abandoned lines?
Yes, ma'am. They're on the GIS. It's just another layer where we identify where they're abandoned so that you can identify them when you need to, but they don't show up all the time to confuse people.
Yeah, I was just thinking a lot of the places where we would be looking at infill development or redevelopment might also be places where we're abandoning older lines. It's always good to know when you're coming across old lines that don't need to be considered in your utility kind of challenges in terms of redevelopment on site. So very
Right.
cool.
Even for our own purposes, if we're trying to find a line to tie in, there might be a nearby abandoned line, and from the exterior, you may not be able to tell the difference. So mapping them and keeping records of what was abandoned as well as what was built can be very important.
I think we just found some abandoned ones at Strickland Park, maybe the last couple of weeks when we've been digging around, so.
All right, anything further? Thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate the updates. All right, that takes us to item 7B, which will be a series of budget amendments that Christy Cluck will explain to us.
Okay, so good evening, Christy Cluck, Finance Director. Staff continually monitors our revenues and our expenditures throughout the year and compares the activity to the budget. And we do this so that city management and the city council can be informed of when budgetary action is needed. In staff's analysis of FY21 revenues and expenditures, several adjustments have been identified. And approval of these budget amendments that are on the agenda this evening will aid in the preparation and presentation of a balanced FY22 budget. So we're trying to look ahead and plan ahead a little bit. So I'll just kind of go through each of the amendments that are on the agenda this evening and provide a little bit of explanation. So in the general fund, staff recommends a reduction of payroll expenditure appropriations by $770,780, and this is due to vacancies in positions. Because of COVID-19, many positions have remained unfilled during this fiscal year. Staff also recommends a reduction to licenses and fees appropriations by $300,000 for a partial year of the potential American Airlines minimum revenue guarantee. So at this time, the city is not subject to a minimum revenue guarantee. And if we do become subject to such a fee before the end of the fiscal year, we will access our contingency funds to meet those obligations. Staff recommends the reduction of contingency appropriations by $257,750. This will leave a balance of $250,000 in our general contingency funds to complete the fiscal year. And then to compensate for these reductions in expenditure appropriations that I've just listed, we must also reduce the transfer in from the SUA to the general fund in order to stay in compliance with our SUA transfer policy. So that amount that we are recommending to reduce is $1,328,530. The offsetting transfer out from the SUA funds is up for consideration later this evening by the SUA trustees. And then staff recommends an increase to the transfer out to the TIF number 1 fund of $38,005. And this is to accommodate the sales tax rebate that's due to the developer under the sales tax apportionment note. And this TIF district is the area where Academy and the Walmart neighborhood market are located. The offsetting transfer into the TIF fund is up for consideration by the SEDA trustees later this evening. And then in the Mary Main Street Fund, staff is recommending a reduction of expenditure appropriations in the amount of $29,903. And this is just simply due to the fact that the Mary Main Street event was not held this fiscal year. And so by relieving these appropriations this year, we can reappropriate those funds next year to hold the event. And then finally, staff is recommending a small increase to revenues of $327, again in the Mary Main Street Fund. And this is just to reflect the partial refund of liability insurance that had previously been paid. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Christy. Counselors? Seems to be very well explained. There are no questions. Is there a recommended motion for us, Christy?
So the recommendation is to approve the budget amendments as listed in the council report.
All right, thank you. Counselors?
Motion to approve budget amendments as detailed in the financial impact/funding source section of this report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve these budget amendments. Teresa, please call the roll.
Mayor Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Darlington,
Yes?
Councilor Zanotti,
Yes.
Councilor Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, those budget amendments are approved. Thank you, Christy. I assume we'll talk to you a little bit later. All right. Next up is item 7C, approve a bid award for turf safety services for Strickland Park Playground. Mr. McClenny.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff solicited, and we received 4 bids for the synthetic turf safety surface as part of Phase 2 of the playground at Strickland. And we are recommending Thrive Landscape as the best bidder. Their material had a heavier face weight, the foam safety surface was thicker, or the foam safety material is thicker, and the secondary backing is heavier, so it makes for a better material. This is the same material and same contractor that did Phase 1, so we think we'll get a better match for what's already there. And this is also a local company. The difference between the low bid and Thrive Landscape is $3,223.88. And we recommend a motion to approve the bid from Thrive Landscape and Irrigation in the amount of $42,973.88.
Thank you, John. Counselors, any questions?
Playgrounds are expensive, but it's exciting. It's exciting to see since this starts to get laying down, we'll see the expanded footprint of the playground. I do want to take just a quick opportunity to remind people that the playground is closed right now for construction. There's a lot of barriers up, but when I drove by this weekend, I did see some friends or community members that had gone around those and were playing on the play equipment that's out there. It's really important that we keep everyone safe and stay off the playground. There is signage out there. I know it's really tempting on these beautiful spring days that we're getting to hop on that other equipment, but we're going to have pretty heavy equipment out there soon, putting in some really exciting new things, and the sooner we can kind of get that closed off and keep people off of it, the sooner we'll get done.
John, is there any estimate of the lifespan of this material, given the use?
Well, we've had similar material in place for probably 6 or 7 years, and we haven't had to do really anything to it yet.
Good. Excellent. It's not like the turf at like the football stadium where they have to tear it out every couple of years because there's people running around on it all the time.
No, I'm sure that it'll eventually have to be replaced, but it doesn't seem to be, it's not an every 2-year thing.
Good. All right. Counselors, further questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve staff recommendation for the purchase of turf material at Strickland Park.
We have a motion and a second to approve the award of bid to Thrive Landscape and Irrigation in the amount of $42,973.88. Teresa, please call the roll.
Mayor Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Darlington,
Yes.
Councilor Zanotti,
Yes.
Councilor Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, that bid recommendation is approved. Thank you, John. Up next is item 7D, approve a budget amendment reflecting a $200,000 e-media grant to the public library. Stacy Delano is here.
Good evening. I'm Stacy Delano. I'm the library director for the Stillwater Public Library. We have this evening a $200,000 budget amendment for the purchase of e-media. The monies were offered from the Oklahoma Department of Libraries and the Institute for Museum and Library Services. We'll be purchasing, of course, e-books and e-audios with the funds, and there are no matches required.
Excellent. Councilors, any questions?
I just wanted to thank.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Stacy again for her hard work on grants. Stacy, about how many grants do you apply for and receive in a year? Do you know?
You know, it can be anywhere between, just depending on what's happening, 5 to 10. I will point out, though, that these very large e-media grants, which are offered for purchase of e-media for the consortium that we administer, are typically not ones that are competitive anyway. We're offered the funding because we're the administrators. And with that being said, I want to just bring to everyone's attention the amazing, amazing work that our technical services Supervisor Andrea Kane does in ordering these materials and making sure not just that our patrons have the items that they need, but in fact the materials that all of the Oklahoma readers in small or mid-sized libraries need.
It is a
I was
fantastic
curious-
service.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm just going to wait my turn. Go ahead, Mayor.
No, go ahead.
I was just curious, in the context of the pandemic, obviously these electronic resources have been a lifeline for so many. I was curious, I couldn't recall, I remember you being here last year and sharing this grant with us. I couldn't remember the funding amount. Did we see any change in the funding amount for this e-resource grant?
Right, the one that we brought to you all last time, I believe, was about 125,000. So this one is, close to double that. In part, yes, definitely because of the increased use. In many ways, I'm sure many of us librarians are hoping that e-reading just keeps going even further, but it's been plateaued for about 5 years. People love their physical books. And so we're kind of going, right, we're kind of skating between two worlds right now. And that is an expensive proposition, but one that we're glad to receive help from Oklahoma Department of Libraries.
Well, you seem to be handling it very gracefully and well. We're really thankful for the resource. I know it's been a really important resource for lots of Oklahomans and especially our community.
I was going to pull the previous grant that was on the consent docket, the health literacy in particular. That was a much relatively smaller grant, but a really nice program and just a great service. Another great service.
We all appreciated your help on the discussion of how we would set up the activities for that. So thank you so much for that.
Well, that was nothing.
All right. Well, Stacy, again, just appreciate all the work that you and the library staff have done over the last year or so with COVID and helping right before that, I don't know if you remember, it was like a year ago, we were worried about the census and just about the census only. And we're so excited about the work you guys were going to do there and did. And then everything kind of went haywire on us, but you all have been a wonderful asset to our community over the last year.
Thank you.
Is there a motion on this item, councilors?
Motion to approve the budget amendments reflecting the $200,000 e-media grant from the Oklahoma Department of Libraries.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Teresa, please call the roll.
Mayor Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Darlington,
Yes?
Councilor Zanotti,
Yes.
Councilor Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, that budget amendment is approved. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to reports from officers and boards. Ms. City Attorney. Thank you. Mr. McNichol?
Yes, sir. I have one report. I'm pleased to announce that Stillwater's Water 2040 project was recently nominated for the Engaging Local Government Leaders NOPE, K-N-O-P-E, award. The award works like a local government March Madness bracket, and we were selected for the first round. Found out today that we have moved to the Sweet 16. So we would encourage everybody to go to elgl.org and please vote for Water 2040 for their award.
Excellent. That's some good recognition for the hard work that our water folks have put into that project over the years.
It is.
Sweet 16 is that's a pretty big deal.
That's right.
All right. Vice Mayor.
Yes. Have you been stockpiling some household items that can't be tossed with your regular trash? I hope you recognize that there are some household items that
thought you were
cannot
asking
be
me
tossed
personally.
on a regular. I'm asking you, Will? No. They may qualify for free drop-off at the city's household hazardous waste event. During this event, you can drop off some of these household items that cannot be put in the trash. There are household pollutants like oil-based paints, pesticides, herbicides, household cleaning products, etc. Stop by the Convenience Collection Center at 807 South Perkins Road on Saturday, April 24th. Got lots of headway here to get those things gathered up. Saturday, April 24th, between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. to participate in tossing those pollutants in the collection places. For more information, go to stillwater.org/news or visit the City of Stillwater's Facebook page.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilor Zanotti?
Yes. The Stillwater City Council runoff election for seat 4 is next month. So now is the time to make sure you're ready to vote. The deadline to register for this election is this Friday, March 12th. Requests for an absentee ballot will need to be made by March 30th, and the election day is actually April 6th. You can find more election information at the Penn County Election Board.
Thank you. Councilor Jaloski?
Hold on, I have to unmute. Okay, hard to do this electronically. Okay, if you're looking for a way to get more involved in the community, apply to join a board or committee. The Board of Adjustment, the Airport Advisory Board, the Audit Committee, and the Building Trades Board all have vacancies. Learn more and complete your online application at stillwater.org/citizensboard. So great way beyond just city council and some of those kind of more visible boards of kind of helping us make a lot of the decisions and do the work of helping us run the city. So important stuff.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. We've got a couple here I'll cover for Councilor Wedlake. The Stillwater Police Department recently has been made aware of several door-to-door and telemarketing scams that have been taking place in our community. If you're unsure about a service or a phone solicitation, you can always contact the police department for assistance. You can also follow the Stillwater Police Department on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date on their latest alerts. I'll also note that the City of Stillwater Environmental Programs and Stormwater Divisions holding their annual Trash Off event on Saturday, April 10th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This event is a great opportunity to take to the streets and show that litter is not okay. Volunteers can RSVP with the number in their party by April 7th. Individuals are also welcome to participate. For more information, go to stillwater.org/news or visit the City of Stillwater's Facebook page. This has been a fun event for the last few years. Get a group from your office or your church or wherever and go out and pick up some of the litter that's laying around the city and help clean up town and compete for some prizes as well. I'd also want to note here real quick that we got word from the Department of Health today that they're moving into phase 3 of their vaccine distribution plan tomorrow. That was good news. Somewhat surprising. They just got to the end of phase 2 started today, and I was able to go get my vaccine. I think one of our other counselors was as well. And then they opened up phase 3 starting tomorrow. So that includes like most of the state. Phase 3 is the biggest chunk of people in the state who are available to get vaccines. OSU staff, faculty, regardless of age, regardless of pre-existing conditions, OSU students, students of any kind, OSU, NOC, Meridian, students over the age of 18 are all in phase 3. There's also a list of essential workers or critical infrastructure, I think, that the state has made where all of the workers in those industries are available, and it includes pretty much, most of the industries out there. It includes retail, restaurant workers, IT, oil and gas, transportation, all sort of city and essential government, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of people who are going to be eligible to get the vaccine starting tomorrow. And the best way for us to get past this thing is to get as many people vaccinated as quickly as we can. So if you are eligible in phase 3, please get registered and go get vaccinated as soon as you can. All right. That takes us to the end of the City Council agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Teresa, please call the roll.
Mayor Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Darlington,
Yes.
Councilor Zanotti,
Yes.
Councilor Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the City Council meeting is now adjourned. At this time, I will call to order the Stillwater Utilities Authority meeting for March 8, 2021. Is there a motion on the consent docket?
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Chair Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Chair Darlington,
Yes.
Trustee Zanotti,
Yes.
Trustee Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the consent docket is approved. On item 5, we have the budget amendments that were briefly discussed previously in the City Council. Christy, do you want to give us a little bit more information about these transfers for SUA?
Sure. And yeah, I'll just go through and kind of provide, like I did before, just a recap of each budget amendment. And so the first would be a recommendation to reduce payroll expenditure appropriations by $398,666. And again, this is due to vacancies in positions. And then to offset the reduction to transfers into the general fund that were approved earlier this evening by the council, staff recommends an offsetting reduction to transfers out from the SUA in the amount of $1,328,530. And then in the waste management fund, staff recommends an increase in revenue projections of $300,000. And this is due to the adoption of the waste management rate changes that went into effect this past January. And then finally, staff recommends reducing contingency appropriations by $140,000 in the waste management fund, which will not be used in FY21.
Thank you, Christy. Trustees? No questions. Is there a motion on these budget amendments?
Motion to approve the budget amendments as detailed in the financial impact funding source section of the report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Teresa, please call the roll.
Chair Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Chair Darlington,
Yes.
Trustee Zanotti,
Yes.
Trustee Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, those budget amendments are approved. Takes us to reports from officers and boards. Ms. Carnley?
Nothing to report.
Mr. McNichol?
One quick report, Mayor. Chris Knight reported this morning that we hope we're a week and a half from being done with storm debris.
Ooh, all right.
Which would be absolutely wonderful.
I can't imagine there's anybody in town who's more ready to be done with storm debris removal than Chris Knight and his team.
There is not, I'm sure.
Well, that's great. A week and a half out would be fantastic. I got a couple messages from folks who had theirs picked up recently, and they were very excited to have those folks come through. So appreciate that work. Trustees, any announcements? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Teresa, please call the roll.
Chair Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Chair Darlington,
Yes.
Trustee Zanotti,
Yes.
Trustee Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the Stillwater Utilities Authority meeting is now adjourned. At this time, I will call to order the Stillwater Economic Development Authority meeting for March 8th, 2021. Is there a motion on the consent docket?
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. Teresa, please call the roll.
Chair Joyce,
Yes.
Vice Chair Darlington,
Yes.
Trustee Zanotti,
Yes.
Trustee Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the consent docket is approved. On item 5, general orders, we have the budget amendments. Christy Cluck.
Yes, we have two final budget amendments. The first is to increase the development agreement expenditure appropriations by $38,005 in the TIF fund to accommodate the sales tax rebate due to the developer under the sales tax apportionment revenue note. And then also to offset the increased transfer out from the general fund approved earlier this evening by the council, staff recommends an offsetting increase to the transfer into the TIF fund.
Thank you, Christy. Trustees, any questions? Christy, do you know where we are in terms of the life of TIF 1? I think we're pretty close to the end of these payments, correct?
I wouldn't say we're close to the end, and I'm sorry, I don't have that number in front of me. I could go back and check on that for you and get that information
Okay.
out.
It's a capped amount, though, correct?
It is, yes,
Yeah,
it
okay.
is.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Thank you. Trustees, questions, comments, or motion?
Motion to accept staff recommendation for budget transfers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Teresa, please call the roll.
Chair Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Chair Darlington,
Yes.
Trustee Zanotti,
Yes.
Trustee Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, those budget amendments are approved. Christy, thanks so much, and thank you to you and your team. I know budgeting in a time when you don't know what your revenues will look like or what your expenditures will look like is not any fun at all, so we appreciate you guys keeping up with all this and keeping us apprised and letting us know what needs to change.
You're very welcome. And the next time we see each other, we will be going through the FY22 budget. So I hope you're ready.
Let's hope it's an easier one than the last one has been. Thank you. All right, reports from officers and boards. Ms. Carnley?
Nothing to report.
Mr. McNichol? Trustees? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Teresa, please call the roll.
Chair Joyce,
Yes?
Vice Chair Darlington,
Yes.
Trustee Zanotti,
Yes.
Trustee Jaloski.
Yes.
With a vote of 4-0, the Stillwater Economic Development Authority is now adjourned, and that concludes our meetings for this evening. Thank you.